Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. We're here for our Get Hired, how to find your next Salesforce job live today. We've got Melanie here from our recruitment team, and she'll be sharing with us all about the jobs of the week that we've had through, and also sharing some top tips with you as well. So if you're job hunting at the moment, we always have lots of different jobs coming in every day. We've got a whole mix this week. Melanie, so do you want to give us a bit of an overview and a highlight of some of the jobs that you've been working on?
Yeah, that'd be great. Afternoon, everybody. And if depending on where you're from, I'm writing with a green pen today for Happy St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, right. So the first job that I'm going to talk about today is actually a contract job. So it is with a great charity. They are in London. The job can be remote, but they'd love for someone to go into the office as well if that's possible. They are looking for, I guess it's a Salesforce admin, but it's an experienced admin that's ideally also potentially got or is on the way to their platform Dev 1. The rate is £400 a day, and they are looking to interview next week. So really nice opportunity with a great organisation. Second role is a BA business analyst role, and that is with a Salesforce consultancy, and I guess their specialist client base is really healthcare, life sciences and non-profits. They are looking for somebody with around 3 years experience as a BA and someone that has got a consultancy background. You do need to have a good knowledge of both sales and service cloud. You need to be a great self-starter. And they do work quite a lot with Jira as well. So anyone that's got knowledge of Jira would be great. They've got a 3-stage interview process for this one, but they have said that they can speed that up, which is great. So it's not going to take forever. Salary is somewhere between 40 and 55, depending upon level of experience. So again, quite an exciting role.
Is that remote or in the office, Mel? I don't know if you said.
That one is remote. They've got an office in the centre of Yorkshire in Leeds. So if anyone's from that area, they can most definitely work on site, but otherwise it's a remote role.
Fantastic.
And the third one for today is a business systems manager. Again, working with a consultancy. They are looking for somebody that can go in and support their sales, marketing and customer success teams. What they're really looking for is a good all-rounder, I guess, someone with good knowledge, probably around 3 years experience working within sales, business strategy and operations. Somebody that's potentially worked within a technology or even a SaaS arena. They are looking for somebody that has got good all-round knowledge of the system, of the Salesforce system, but equally somebody that's probably got a background as a PM. Don't need any qualifications as such, but certainly someone that can, identify what a priority is on a system or create a project and then actually start and allocate resources, whether they're internal or external resources. We talked about this one this morning, didn't we? So I think this one could be great for anybody that has worked within a sales or customer success role that's looking for that progression, possibly someone in a product owner type role, maybe someone in a PM role. So it's good, it's quite varied. Salary is somewhere between about 48 and 55, and they're looking straight away. So yeah, good.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, it was great to see we've always got such a mix, haven't we, within consultancies and in customers. So there's always something for everybody. And what I'd say is I encourage you to, think about stepping up or think about moving to consultancy and sort of broadening that experience. If you are suffering with a bit of imposter syndrome, I will drop a link to some YouTube videos on our YouTube channel, and I'll drop them in the comments of this live, so you can have a look at, if I was going for an interview as a consultant, what are the things that they might ask me or talk about. There's maybe some top tips there if you're thinking about moving from an admin to consultant, because that's a leap in itself. But Mel, what other tips would you be sharing with people this week about how they can land their next job?
Okay, so I'm going to move away from interview tips because we've done that for a couple of weeks now, and I am going to go back to CV tips. So ultimately, whether you are experienced or whether you're new into the market, you now need to be creating a CV resume that's going to stand out from the crowd. Okay, so there's some really basic tips here. So make sure that your CV has a header, It clearly, talks about who you are. I'm starting to receive loads and loads of CVs, which are fantastic, but for some strange reason, people no longer want to put their telephone number on there, or sometimes an email address, which makes it incredibly difficult for me to get back in touch with that candidate. So if I'm experiencing that and you're applying for a job role, if you don't tell people how to contact you, quite honestly, they can't, and they're not going to go look for you. So make sure that you've got your details on there. Start with a really nice professional statement that outlines the number of years experience that you've got, particularly if you are already in Salesforce, what kind of industry sectors you're working in, talk about your certifications. What you then want to probably do is then create a separate section for your certs and any sort of topical information around trailhead badges, trailhead points, any professional development that you might have done. List your skills. So we're looking, an employer at the moment is looking for two types of skills. Have you got a tech stack, and what does that look like, and what technical skills do you have? But actually talk about in your CV, or list in your CV, your softer skills. So if you are new into the ecosystem and you can't say, I've worked for 4 years in the Salesforce ecosystem as an admin or developer or whatever it might be, really list your softer skills. So what skills do you think that you have that are transferable? Things such as communication skills, organizational skills are always really, really good. Clearly, you want to talk about your experience and your work history, so make sure that you put that in there. And wherever possible in your CV, and it's quite tough, it's easier to talk about in an interview, but actually, I've talked about this before in an interview around how you bring something to life. Try and bring your experience to life. So if you are listing what your experience is, if you've worked on a project, outline that project. What was that project? What was your part in that project? And actually, how did that support a business? So a good one is if you are a Salesforce admin and there was a requirement for you to either train or provide some training information, can you then revert that back to an improvement in engagement on the system? So that's ultimately what customers are looking for. Try and list your hobbies as well and your interests, and make those related to, your Salesforce experience if you can, particularly around, have you volunteered within the ecosystem? Do you lead, or are you part of a user group? Have you done any mentoring? So they're really, really good sort of interests and hobbies to have. Clearly, if you're really sporty, you can put all of that as well. Don't forget to put your education. But I think the big things that stand out for me are that personal statement right at the very beginning, your skills and how you list them. And whilst you're not going to change your CV and you're not going to put anything in your CV that you aren't capable of, go back to the job description. What skills is that employer highlighting a key for them? And then how can you amend your CV so that your CV is almost highlighting those skills that you've got that match the job description? Make it easy for that potential employer to be able to see how your skill set matches their job role. That's it.
Fantastic. I love those. And they, it's always so good to be reminded of all those things, isn't it? Because you're like, oh yeah, no, I've got to do X, Y, Z. So put that together as a little checklist and have it there for you to polish your CV, because it's the difference between shortlisted or not. And we hear quite often that people are, I've never heard back from anybody. But if you kind of cover off all those amazing tips that Mel shared, the more likely is that your CV will get noticed and shortlisted beyond not having those things on it. So you've really got nothing to lose, have you, by doing those amendments. So thank you, Mel. We have had a question, a comment. Do you want to just respond to Sir Shard?
Unfortunately, I can't drop the name of my client at the moment, so we do tend to keep that quite confidential. I don't know, Sajad, if you are already onboarded or registered with us, but feel free to reach out with me either via LinkedIn or email or whatever method, because actually I'm quite happy to then talk through any job role that we've got.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for the feedback. We hope you enjoyed it. So we'll drop a few links in the comments as well around the interview tips, and we'll see you soon. But get in touch with the recruitment team if you need any more support with finding your next job. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.